If you own a home or you're even just thinking about selling, you've seen them. Those scary, exciting, totally confusing real estate headlines. They are everywhere. But here's the thing. Making a huge financial decision based on a headline, that's kind of like choosing your vacation spot from a single postcard. Today, we're going to break down how to read between the lines and make choices based on facts, not fear. Let's dive in. Okay, first things first, we have to understand what a headline's job actually is. Its number one goal is to make you click, to grab your attention in this sea of information we're all swimming in. It is all about engagement. It is absolutely not about providing nuanced, personalized financial advice for your specific house on your specific street. So that brings us to the big question, right? If these headlines aren't a reliable guide, what are they? And more importantly, how do we filter through all that noise to find the actual signal? Well, that's exactly what we're going to figure out. Let's start with what is probably the biggest disconnect of all, that huge gap between what you read in the national news and what's really happening with the value of your home. I mean, just think about the scale for a second. A national headline, it's trying to summarize trends across millions of homes in dozens of different states with completely different economies and buyer pools. But your home isn't priced on a national scale. Its value comes from a much, much smaller world. The recent sales in your neighborhood, the specific buyers looking in your school district, and the local job market. Here's a great way to think about it. A national real estate headline is like the national weather report. It's interesting, sure, but it's not going to tell you if you need to grab an umbrella on your way out the door. For that, you need the local forecast. All right, our next key distinction, and this one is so important, is learning how to spot the difference between what someone thinks might happen and what we know for a fact has already happened. So many of the headlines we see are built entirely on predictions. They're forecasts, they're expert opinions, they're projections about where things are headed. And look, they can be insightful, but at the end of the day, they are fundamentally just educated guesses. They are not certainties. But then you have proof. And in real estate, proof is cold, hard data from sales that have actually closed. This isn't about what a buyer might pay for a house tomorrow. It's about what a real buyer actually did pay for a house yesterday. This is hands down the most reliable information you can get. So here's a little tool for you. From now on, train yourself to ask this one simple question every time you read an article. Is this a forecast or is it a fact? Is this story about a potential future or is it reporting on a proven past? Trust me, basing your big decisions on proof is always the smarter way to go. Of course, headlines have a way of bypassing our logical brains, and they do it by using emotionally charged language. Words like crash, collapse, reset. They're designed to trigger fear and this sense of urgency, and that can lead to panic decisions, or the exact opposite, getting so overwhelmed you just do nothing. The key is to see these words for what they are, tools to get you to click, not objective reports of fact. Okay, so we've really dug into the problem with headlines. Now let's pivot to the solution. And it all comes down to focusing on local data and just asking much, much better questions. And this right here, this is such a critical shift in mindset. The wrong question is totally passive and it's speculative. What will the market do? You have zero control over that. The right question is active and it's immediate. What are buyers doing right now in my area? Now that is a question you can actually find real, concrete answers to. And these are the data points that matter. These are infinitely more valuable than any national headline. What if similar homes right down the street actually sold for? What other houses are you competing against right now? How long are homes like yours actually taking to sell? What kind of feedback are open houses getting? That is your reality. Okay, this brings us to our final section, and it's all about a clear, actionable strategy. Because here's the secret. No matter what the headlines are screaming, every single seller always has 3 and only 3 real choices. And here's what you need to remember. You are in control. You're in the driver's seat. Option 1, price your home based on the local proof, those recent sales, and sell now. Option 2, you can aim higher, but you have to accept that this means a longer time on the market, and it comes with the risk of a lower price later on. Or option 3, you decide now's just not the right time, and you take your home off the market. Simple as. And this part is so important. There is no secret fourth option where you can just hold out for an above market price indefinitely and somehow be protected from all risk. Waiting with a high price isn't a strategy. It's a gamble. And it's a decision that has its own set of consequences. So at the end of the day, it all comes down to this one simple idea. The national headlines, the noise, the predictions, it's all interesting, but it should never be your guide. Your strategy, your decisions, and frankly, your peace of mind should come from the numbers that are closest to your own front door. And that really just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. As you move forward, just take a second to reflect. What's really driving your thinking? Is it the noise coming from a screen, or is it the real numbers from your own neighborhood? Because the answer to that question is going to determine everything.